Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So what would it be like if you knew you had what you truly needed in every moment to be able to complete your visions and dreams? What would you think? What would you do? Who would you be? My name is Matthias. My background is in technology and web development. I have a background in also as a venture partner. And I spent 4 years at Yale University. And in 2012, I left it all behind. I asked myself, what do I truly need to be a happy human? And so I moved to an island off the Pacific coast of the United States to find out. If you can go to... Okay. So in the next slide, please. Okay. So I asked myself, well, what do I truly need? And what was preventing me from being able to ask what I truly needed to be able to achieve my visions and dreams and goals? What's stopping me? So I actually, one day, I was on the land, and I even despite a prearranged agreement to be able to do work trade for food, I felt uncomfortable asking even for a piece of bread for a friend of mine whose land I was on, and the main kitchen was in her shared in her home, because I didn't want to inconvenience her. And then I thought, I've had the experience that I've had. If this happened with something this small, well, this must not just be an issue that's with me. So if you go back a couple of slides, there was a recent study in 2015 that looked at the death rates of white Americans between ages 45 to 54 from drugs, from alcohol, and suicide. And basically the rates of those deaths actually increased a 0.5% from 2000 to 2014. And it actually surpassed the death rates of African Americans in that age group. So why is this important? Well, there is a lady by the name of Brene Brown, several slides back, who is a researcher in University of Houston. And she's been studying shame and vulnerability for 20 years. And her TED Talk, The Power of Vulnerability, has been seen now over 29 million times. And what she found out is that vulnerability is required for connection. So back on the island, after trimming some bamboo and having what turned out to be a tasty piece of whole grain bread, I did muster up the courage to ask for it. I thought, well, what is a true need? And then what came through was a true need is simply that which is required for a satisfying life, and that which is required to understand and to use your full potential. So I knew this had to do with leadership somehow. I asked myself, what connects the great leaders of all time? People like Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, or even modern-day business leaders like Oprah Winfrey or Richard Branson or Elon Musk. But more importantly, what is the thing that each of us can do to embody that sense of leadership too? So then I received this distinction and definition of a true leader, which I shared in a workshop in the spring of 2013. There was a retired Army commander named Gregory Stone that was present, and he appreciated what I had to say. However, I did not expect him to stand up in front of 250 leaders at the closing ceremony of that weekend gathering, and he said and shared that I would put Matthias's definition of a true leader on page 1 of the Army manual. And I was floored because, and this was really important, because to me this signified is that this was tapping into something more universal. Here I was, a kind of a technical mystic type guy, and this message resonated with a leader seemingly on the other end of the scale or the spectrum. So if you're ready to write, here it is. The definition of a true leader as it came to me is simply, next slide, someone who is authentically aligned with themselves. There we go. Someone who has a vision, and someone who knows what they truly need and is able to ask for it and receive from both themselves and others. So January 13, 2013, I woke up cold, freezing. My tent I'd been in a year for had molded out. And I realized I'd been a hypocrite. I hadn't really told anybody I had slept in a tent for a year. I mean, what would people think? Right? But more importantly, I hadn't asked for what I truly needed. And so, one agonizing blog post later, I did. And I was really floored by the response from different friends on social media. And one of those responses actually included an offer for a new tent. Go figure. So, I was clear that at that point I needed to take these principles and embody them myself first before I would share them to the rest of the world. So I did. You could say I took risks. I put my reputation on the line, and I was unreasonable with myself and others in my requests. I was able to crowdfund my way from the Northwest to the Southwest, and I tell you, miracles happened, which I share about in my upcoming memoir about this time, which would be available later on this year. So I made it across the desert from the Southwest to San Diego. I gave my last $3 on an offering plate and ended up penniless on the beach. That was actually 144 days later, exactly as I found out, looking back to when I woke up from the freezing on the island in the tent. And through that experience, I really had the visceral knowledge that I had what I truly needed in every moment to fulfill my visions and dreams, even when it felt the hardest. Maybe you've felt something like that too. So the next day, I woke up and I actually received my first Swiss client. So you may know I've actually been here in Morocco based here for over a year now. I've had the opportunity to support leaders and young entrepreneurs. I've in open innovation worked with companies like CIH Bank and LEDEC and HPS, and I've shared this message in various forums, and I'm really grateful that it has been well received. There's an interesting connection with Arabic, actually. I was on a train from Marrakesh to Casablanca, and I met a new friend. His name is Nabil Hadi. He was a communication lecturer at Edinburgh University for many years, and he was sharing with me about the meanings of sounds, of the letters in Arabic. So don't take what I'm about to say as true, just take it like it might be useful. Go back a slide, you're almost there. One more? All right. So, we were talking about the letter ha. And really, it's like this, in a way, this sound, this vibration communicates this energy of intense emotion, which requires vulnerability. You could also say it might be more feminine. And then he shared about the letter ka, which really communicates the energy of power or confidence. And you could say a more masculine energy. Next slide. So what happens when you put those together? You get haq, the right, or truth. And if you flip them around, you get qa, a sense of purity or originality. So I just got back from Dakar. It was my first time. I was invited to attend a Sufi gathering of the Tijaniya Brotherhood, or Tariqa Tijaniya. And despite cultural differences, I was able to make fast friends, and was really grateful to sit in on forums and conversations where the conversation was about how to integrate things like art, like creativity, like entrepreneurship, like the awareness of the environment to create a positive message for youth, in contrast to religious extremism. So regardless of who you are, where you live, or what you believe, what would it be like if you had if you knew you had what you truly needed in every moment to achieve your visions and dreams? What if 100 million people heard this message? What if just 1 million people committed to doing their best to live by these principles? What would happen if you committed to leading your own life with confident vulnerability as an example for your family, your business, your country, and the leaders of the world? Let's walk together. Share this message, and let's find out. Thank you.